kind of tag teaming on this. So I'm going to start off by telling you a little bit about the history and the philosophy of the Clubhouse movement and of the San Antonio Clubhouse. And I will tell you that this is the third of 3 sessions we've done today. That the first one we went over, and the second one we ended too soon, so hopefully this one's going to be just So a little bit about the Clubhouse movement. It started back in the 1940s with a group of patients that were released from a psychiatric hospital in New York that formed a support group to help each other with basic needs and just with relationships, and that led to the first Clubhouse opening in 1948 in New York City, Fountain House, which is the mothership of clubhouses. It takes up a city block in Manhattan, serves about 400 to 500 people every day. The Clubhouse movement became nationalized and internationalized with an accreditation process to make sure that there's fidelity to the model the way that the founders intended. So true clubhouses, and I say true clubhouses because anyone can call themselves a clubhouse. There's no trademark on the name. Except, I have to say, that we were smart enough in Texas that we trademarked the name Clubhouse as of last week. So if you want to open a clubhouse in Texas, you have to talk to us, okay? And the reason I say that is there are people that call themselves clubhouses that it's truly not. It's a very specific model, a very specific model of recovery that's focused on relationships and meaningful work. And we'll talk more about that. There are about 330 clubhouses around the world. About 200 are in the U.S., and there are 3 accredited clubhouses in Texas: San Antonio, Houston, and Austin. We have a 14-year history. We're now the largest clubhouse in the southern United States and are actually training groups in Texas to open more clubhouses. We're working with a group in the Valley, and by this time next year, we'll have a clubhouse in Edinburgh, Harlingen, and Laredo. I'm sorry, not Laredo, Brownsville. And we're working with a group in San Angelo to bring a clubhouse there, and 2 different groups to bring 2 clubhouses to Dallas. So the clubhouse movement is spreading. We started in Travis Park Methodist Church about 14 years ago. And the reason I mention that, this is a faith-based conference, and part of what we're talking about is how churches and nonprofits can connect together. And what I will tell you is that our clubhouse would not be here without Travis Park Church. Some of y'all know the history of Travis Park Church. They have a long history of birthing, for lack of a better word, organizations that went on to become nonprofits. You talk for a church to say, yes, we will open our doors to people with mental illness to come in during the day. Some would view that as a risky decision. Travis Park decided to take that decision, and because they did, look at where we are today. So that shows you the power of how congregations can work with nonprofits. We are now located in Fredericksburg and 410. About up to 70 members a day come to our facility, and we're hoping to open a campus on the west side. We had one and lost our lease. We're hoping to open another campus on the west side next year. So clubhouses are founded, and I'm sorry I'm talking fast, I want to make sure I get through everything. Clubhouses are founded on 2 principles: meaningful relationships and rewarding work. There is not a typical clubhouse member, but I will tell you that most of the folks that come to us are people that have experienced multiple hospitalizations, that are alienated from family and friends, that have had encounters with the criminal justice system. And so a lot of people feel very alone when they show up at the clubhouse doors. They don't have relationships. So how important are relationships? I mean, they're everything. They are everything. And that's first and foremost what happens at the clubhouse. People can come develop trusting relationships with other people in an environment where they feel safe, in an environment where they can be involved in meaningful work. So clubhouses are run for and because of our members. And what I mean by that is clubhouses by the international standards are purposely short-staffed. The reason that we're short-staffed is there's so much work to be done, and we want to make sure that it can't get done without the members helping. So what you'll see at the clubhouse, instead of seeing a clinical setting or seeing what we call a smoke and a joke and a Coke, which is an adult daycare, you'll see a productive community. We look like a workplace because we are a workplace. All of the work, from clerical work to member outreach to data entry to designing brochures and different printed materials to managing our website, social media, janitorial work, transportation, everything is done by the staff and members working together. So you look at a member that comes to us that maybe has very little confidence or no confidence in their abilities. That doesn't describe all members, but it does describe many of them. To be involved in doing something meaningful and learning something, people develop confidence, develop great relationships, and then prepare to go back to work. And we'll talk about our employment program a little bit. Before I turn it over to, we need to go back to the program. Before I turn it over to Linda, the last thing I'm going to say is that we are a nonprofit, and so there is no fee for membership. There's no clinical referral process. If you show up at our door and you say, I'm a person with a history of mental illness and I'd like to be a member, and you're not endangering yourself or other people, that's the only criteria you have to meet. There's no fee to join. The only charge, and it's voluntary, what's the word I'm looking for? Optional, is 50 cents for breakfast and $1.50 for lunch, and it's a full, healthy meal. So I'm going to turn it over to Linda.
So I'm going to be talking about community and relationships, and I think the best way to do that is to share my experience. So before I came to the clubhouse, I was very isolated. I was going through a lot of situational things with my family and just in general. I had been hospitalized several times. So the last hospital that I was in, one of the caseworkers there actually, that's the person who told me about the clubhouse. So I came in and got a tour. I was anxious, scared, nervous, insecure. I wasn't even used to being around a lot of people, so it was scary for me. But I knew that I had to do something because I was in a really desperate situation. So after a couple of weeks, I started doing some of the work of the clubhouse. Things like data entry, maybe trying to prepare some meals. And I started getting to know people. And I slowly kind of came out of my shell and started gaining confidence. And I started feeling like the stuff that I was doing there was worthwhile stuff, and that I was worthwhile. And these are feelings that I was not used to. And it was a huge change in my life. And now I'm doing things like standing here, and I'm like public speaking, something that I never thought I even had the capability to do, much less want to do. I do things like design our brochures and do the photography for the clubhouse, and none of this stuff would be happening if I didn't have that community, and I didn't have that work that led me to have self-confidence. So the clubhouse has really, really changed my life. And to me, the best reward is that, like I said, I came to the clubhouse and I really needed help, but now I get to help other people. And that is the magic of the clubhouse. That's what keeps me coming back every day. I know I'm a volunteer, but I consider it my job. This is where I work, and this is like a huge part of my life. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I'm going to talk about equality. And equality basically deals with equality amongst us in our community. Members, staff, and members. No hierarchy where we are. We are a community of souls that are looking for the same goal. Wanting to be wanted, wanting to be needed. Knowing that we are helping each other at any cost. Knowing when someone's down, it's our job to get them back up. Knowing that if someone's just having a bad day, we're going to turn it around. We always working side by side. When you've taken your tour and you've had your first free meal, I mean, it's not your first, it's your first because you're a member. It doesn't mean your second one's going to be something another 50, like Mark said, for the next ones after that. We work side by side with the buddy system, meaning you'll have someone coaching you, helping you, seeing what your skills are, seeing what your wants are for a job. Whether it be, Mark went through them all, so did Linda, data entry, culinary, We're working in the snack bar, working with customer service skills, working with cashier skills. Lots to do in the media center, photography, working with video. There's plenty of techno freaks out there with mental illness, and if they can come in and find something, there's one right there. And see, they're proud, loud and proud. So anytime we know that something is an asset, and we're all assets, we're all God's kids, and we know that we have a contribution to make to society. So. And everything's in a voluntary nature at the clubhouse. We're not there just because. That's what kept me away for so long. My mother, I took my tour, and it was a while before I returned, but it was like, when you get into the clubhouse, I was isolating. I was doing like Linda, just, I didn't have that feeling. I didn't have that passion. I used to work 18, 20-hour days in my working times. And I've lost that passion, but now I'm getting it back. I'm not quite to the 18, 20 hours a day, but I can go to the clubhouse, be focused, go to the clubhouse and get focused and put in a good day of contribution in somewhere, and know that I accomplished something that day, and know that it was a good day. So all that being said. Please come visit the clubhouse. We're centrally located, I believe, in San Antonio as best we can be on Fredericksburg and Loop 410. If you know La Fonda Restaurant, it's a little 2-story white building that we're in right behind there on the first floor. Please come visit us. Feel the feeling of the rooms. Feel the feeling of learning and companionship and love and everything that happens at the clubhouse. Thank you.
So now I'll talk about employment. That's an important part of what we do. When we talk about the work order day, the voluntary nature of the clubhouse, and all of the different volunteer work going on, there's a purpose to that for many of our members because it's preparation to go back to work. Many members that come to us have a long gap in their work history due to just dealing with mental illness. Some people have never worked before. So what we have is we have a 3-tiered program. The first is transitional employment. It's where we develop relationships with employers in the community. These are entry-level positions, typically 15 to 20 hours a week. The staff member goes in and learns the job. Then we select the member for the job. And guess what the best indicator of whether somebody's going to do well in a job or not? It's the desire to work. I mean, if somebody wants to work, that's the best indicator whether somebody's ready or not. So if somebody's ready to work, we bring that person in. We train them in the position for as long as it takes. If the member, for some reason, can't make it to work, they don't call the employer, they call the job coach. The job coach shows up ready to work. So it's a seamless, it's a great advantage for the employer to never have to worry whether someone's there or not. Those jobs are 6 to 9 months in duration, and the purpose of that is it gives our members a manageable goal, and it can be intimidating, the idea of starting a new job. So, if you're committing to something for 6 to 9 months, it's a little easier. Plus, you're not risking, some of our folks are on disability benefits, and I've seen it happen before where somebody has the opportunity to get a job full-time, and they jump into it, and they lose their benefits, and those are very difficult to get back. So this is a way to work part-time for that period of time without jeopardizing your benefits. After that 9-month period, you rotate out. You might be ready for a supported or independent employment position at that time, and we would rotate somebody else into the transitional employment position. I'll tell you one quick story about one of our members. This is just one story. We have many. A man named Remy who came to us about 4 years ago, 39 years old, had never worked in his life, had a mental illness, an intellectual disability, and epilepsy. I've been in social services for a long time. I've worked for 2 different homeless shelters, so I've heard a lot of stories of abuse. This is one of the worst stories of abuse I've ever heard, what this young man had to deal with growing up. He came to us, he wasn't talking, he wasn't doing anything, but he came to the clubhouse and slowly started getting involved, slowly started making friends. Then he started volunteering in the kitchen. Well, today, he works in a restaurant on the Riverwalk. He's been there for 3 years, and he has his own apartment for the first time in his life. He's 43 years old. So when you have that kind of support system where you have other people caring about you and teaching you real skills, you can succeed. So I think that's all. They just did a news story about him, and he won an award for, I don't remember what is it, Consumer of the Year or something for the Center for Healthcare Services. So yeah, great success story. Health and wellness.
Good afternoon, me again. The health and wellness program, we already talked about the nutritional meals that are low cost, and they are very, again, nutritional, very tasty. And you're not going to look at a meal and say, too many vegetables, I'm going to walk away. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy what's on your plate. And that's another reason to come visit the clubhouse. Of course, if you're not a member yet, it is a $3 meal. That doesn't include tip. We don't accept tips. So, at least you can get by with a $3 meal. Our wellness shops and activities, we have wellness walks that we take right after lunch. We take wellness walks anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the heat index. We also have meditation time that goes on at that time. We also have workshops in spirituality and wellness that way. We have managing your budget, managing your money, taking care of a 30-day plan of spending instead of a 2 to 3 days plan of springing, and then knowing what to do for the next plan there. But one thing that is good about the club is we do sell meal cards. For $30, you can get a meal card, and this is, when you first get paid, get your meal card, and you get a $5 additional meal or snack card free that goes with that. And so by the mid-month, so if you're out of money, you at least have your meal cards, you can still have your meals to eat. I won't focus so much on the meals. You can tell I focus a lot on the meals, but and the non-clinical nature initiative, I think Mark mentioned, we are non-clinical, we are non-medical. I am a Laurel Ridge alumni. That's not how I found out about the clubhouse. It was through another sister organization. But I know I made the right decision, and I know with God's help and with all the help at the club, it's helping me and nurturing me to be the person I used to be, and to come back and know that I can get in front of a group of people and not be ashamed of who I am or what I am. Because what you see is what you get. And with the clubhouse and the unity and the love there, you're going to notice, and that's why it's so important. Please come by and feel what we have there, and know that what's going on is for the goodness for one, and then it is all one, all, what's that saying?
All for one, one for all.
No, the other one. All for the good of all.
Oh, the good of the many. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get a
Just
portion
make something
there.
up.
I'm gonna think about that the rest of the day now. Anyway,
when it's over with.
when it's there, you go. Anyway, so it's a good time of community. It's a good time of getting a task done. We don't linger. You go, you're with your buddy, you're getting, that kind of experience that you need. Like Mark said, if you're ready to go to work, we'll get you ready to go to work, and you're in charge. So you are volunteers, you come and go as you please. You're there if you want to be, you're not there if you don't want to be, and it all is for the good. I'm going to remember that. Excuse me?
Spa committee. That was the needs of many outweighs the needs of few. That was a support of a sociologist. Maybe.
Okay, so we have like a little visual tour here of the clubhouse. This is our reception, and as you can see, there's two people back there, so we do everything side by side. So in the reception, you'll have a member be answering the phones or scheduling tours and greeting the people that walk in. This is our wellness room. We have, so like during the work order day, members can choose to come in here whenever they want and have their workout. We also do, like Marie was saying, wellness workshops and meditation. This is our snack bar, and you can learn skills here like working the register and doing inventory. This is
They're making it fun.
right. This is our business team, and they're getting ready to make a money deposit, and we also do like clerical and administrative work. This is our kitchen, and we do the make breakfast and lunch, and we also like do menu planning and go shopping. And this is an extension of our culinary unit. This is our dining room where people will serve you meals as well as work the salad bar. And this is the media lab where we do everything from social media to photography to creating videos, doing our newsletters, and graphic design. And this is our employment team. As you can see, we have task boards up there. I know it's hard to see, but there's a lot of writing up there, so people sign up to do each individual task, such as, what's a good example, Shirley?
Calling employers, calling members, visiting members at their work.
Okay. And this is our membership services. This is where we have new member orientation. It's about helping new members get used to the clubhouse, helping them decide, like, what they want to do once they get to the clubhouse.
There's also World of Warcraft there.
Pardon?
I saw the computers, but that's because there's World of Warcraft there too.
No, not really. After 4. Or here. So this is an example of our social events. After our work order day on Tuesday, so from 4 to 7, and also on Saturdays, we have social events like going to the movies, going to play golf, and doing the Run Fest.
All right, thank you. So 2 things I just thought about that we didn't. We have active reach out, which means that if members have not been coming, we call them on the phone, we visit them at home, we visit them in the hospital, we visited people in jail, visited them wherever they need to be visited, and it hasn't been unusual for someone that hasn't been coming to the clubhouse for a while to get a phone call and show up the next day. Because with mental illness, a lot of times, and y'all both talked about it, the tendency when you're symptomatic is to isolate. That's the worst thing we can do. So this is a way to stay connected to folks. We also didn't talk about outcomes. We've done our own studies that have shown that participation in our clubhouse has significantly reduced psychiatric hospitalizations and encounters with law enforcement. And it only makes sense. If you have a caring, productive community to go to every day, then it benefits you in so many ways. So how we can work together. And this being a faith-based conference, this is really kind of targeted to churches. So if anybody here is representing a church, Doug talked yesterday about how many times the pastor is the first person a family member approaches when they have a family member that's dealing with mental illness. You can refer to us. That could be a good option. Help us tell our story. I was talking about how Clubhouse was international in scope. The international Clubhouse community, everywhere you go, they talk about how we're the best kept secret. There's still so many people out there that don't know about the Clubhouse, and we want to change that. So let us tell our story. Let us come talk to your congregation. We're willing to do that and do that. Part-time employees. We provide excellent employees for entry-level type positions. Well, not only entry-level, we have some folks with some real skills as well. Include us in your benevolence fund. Does everybody know what benevolence means? Because I will define it. So Unlike many clubhouses, as mentioned, there are about 200 in the United States. Medicaid laws are different in every state. Most clubhouses receive the majority of their funding through billing Medicaid. The good thing about that is those clubhouses don't have to worry about where their money is coming from. The bad thing is they have to meet those Medicaid guidelines, which means that they're sometimes compromising the model the way that the founders intended it, and it starts to look more like a treatment program. We don't ever want that in our clubhouse. We've been fortunate the last 14 years, about 95% of our funding comes through private sources. It makes it sound like it's, what I mean is foundations and individuals. So we're very unique in the clubhouse community in that we're privately funded, but what it means is that we are dependent on our community. So please support us. We do a lot with a little bit of money. I was talking about how we're short-staffed. The typical staff-to-member ratio is about 1 to 10 or 1 to 12. That's unheard of in like a mental health setting, but it works well for us. This is how to get a hold of us, our phone number, our website, and our address, and this is not our zip code. We just discovered it's actually 78229. But as Marie said, if you know where La Fonda is on Fredericksburg Road, and you know where the Frostbank Thomas J. Henry building is, we're right between those two buildings, so you can't miss us. 4 minutes left. So now we will take any questions. Yes, sir.
What are your hours for the...
So right now we're open 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. We have extended hours on Tuesday from 4 to 7 where we do social and recreational outings or events. And we're also open 10 to 2 on Saturday. We're also open on all... Just get ready to say. We're open on all major holidays, and that's, again, by following the Clubhouse International standards. So we're open Thanksgiving, Christmas, we'll be open on Labor Day. What else? All holidays we're open. Yes, ma'am.
And then the ages, when you say hope for adults, so no children, no...
Not at this time. It's 18 and older. We have taken some 17-year-olds that are about to be 18, but it's typically 18 and older. We would love, and these things are always dependent on resources, but we love the idea of a Clubhouse PM, we're calling it, where young people that are in school during the day could have a clubhouse to come to at night. But we've got to find the money for that. Yes, sir.
You mentioned something about a work sponsor, somebody that's keeping track of somebody who's out learning the job.
Yeah, like a job coach.
Job coach.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what are job coaches?
Sure. So in the clubhouse model, every staff member is a job coach. We haven't quite hit that yet, but we're getting there. So what we do is, like, a staff member will go out and develop a relationship with an employer, and that staff member brings the member in, trains the member in the job, stays with them as long as necessary, turns them loose, but then comes in and checks in on them periodically, sees how they're doing. If the member can't make it to work, they call the job coach. The job coach goes in and works for them. Job coaching is not just job coaching, it's also being out in the community looking for employers, looking for people that would be willing to hire our members. And it's talking about the transitional employment program, we talk about how the job coach will go in and substitute for the member. Even though that is a benefit for the employer, it actually rarely happens because most of our members are so grateful to be given the opportunity to work again that they show up on time and they show up ready to work.
Who are some of your employers?
Help me out. Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Panchitos, Boysville, what is it? Marshalls. We've got probably about a dozen employers we're working with. What we're trying to do is really expand our employment because right now most of the positions are in retail or food service, and we want to kind of move beyond that and find more of the clerical positions and things like that. That's everybody? Okay. Yes, sir.
Do you have any numbers that we could give to our congregations to help expand things?
Good question. So our table is right there. Look, everybody else is leaving, so our table is still there. This is our annual report. We ran out of brochures, but this has a lot of information
Well,
about
I need to
the
make sure you're